Hi and welcome to the Malat cookery channel. So today I want to show you how I set a fire in our homemade pizza oven. So I've been contacted by a number of people with questions regarding the setting of fires, actually cooking in the pizza ovens once they've built the pizza oven project that's featured on our Malat cookery channel. So I want to cover quite a few issues with regard to this video. One is how to set a fire correctly in order to heat the pizza oven up so that when you put the pizza into the oven that it cooks evenly both on the top and on the base. And a really common question is people that live in built up areas or in areas of the world where there are really strict laws regarding smoke, outdoor fires. How is it possible to build a fire within the pizza that is completely smokeless? Well, it is, and I'll go through that as well today in the video. So the first question really is, where do we position the fire initially within the pizza oven? And we always position the fire centrally on the floor within the dome itself and build the fire from there. So for those people that are concerned about generating smoke, then the way I would start the fire is with some fire lighters. You need something to obviously create a flame initially, and use a few pieces of some smokeless fuel. So in this case I've got this restaurant grade charcoal, and here it says authorized fuel suitable for use in smoke controlled areas. So this gives off very little if any smoke at all. And the problem you have initially when you're starting a fire is if you're going to use something that would normally generate smoke anyway, you're going to generate a lot of smoke because obviously the fire's cold initially. The way to produce a completely smokeless fire is to use smokeless fuel initially, then you can go to wood once the fire has got up to temperature. So we're going to be using about 4 or 5 of these firelighter blocks and a few pieces of this smokeless fuel initially in the centre of the pizza oven. So I've placed a few of the firelighters in the centre of the floor. The next thing to do is I'm going to build some of the smokeless fuel around the firelighters on the top. Just leave a gap at the front so we can actually light them. If you're not concerned about generating smoke, then you would be using something called kindling, which is basically just small strips of softwood. You can buy these in bags, even from most large supermarkets now. So once we've lit the initial fire, we leave that now to get up to a really nice temperature. So with regard to smokeless fuel or charcoal, you wait until it turns white. With regard to kindling, obviously until it's well lit before we even attempt to add any more fuel. So for those people that are concerned about obviously creating smoke, with this method of using this smokeless fuel, the only thing you really get, you probably won't be able to pick it up, is just the vapours coming off from the firelighters, and that's the only smell that's generated. So once the initial coals have gone white, you then need to build up a second layer of coals if you're going down the smokeless route, and that's what I've started to do here. Once that second layer has turned white, you can then start adding wood without fear of generating a lot of smoke. And the best wood to use is, I would say, hardwood. So if you've got some seasoned hardwood, definitely use that. Try and stay away from things like pine, which even though they're seasoned, still have a lot of resin within the pine, and that just creates a horrible coating on your pizza oven. If you're not concerned about the smoke, then initially you've used kindling. You can now start to put larger pieces of wood on, and again hardwood is always the best. Whichever method you're using, it is very important with this type of home build that uses a vermiculite or perlite base, that you allow the base to heat up where you're going to be placing the pizzas in, and where the fire sat now is exactly where the pizzas will go. If you don't allow the base to heat up, what will happen is, if we move this fire too quickly to the outside edges of the pizza oven, then the dome will be up to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The base will be at around 100 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. When you place your pizza in, it will cook very quickly on the top and stay soggy underneath. So if you've got this type of build and you're getting pizzas which are soggy on the underside but look like they're cooked on the top, 100% the reason for that is that you haven't allowed the base to actually heat up. So the minimum you should leave the fire sat in this position as you start to build it up is an hour and a half. What I do is I normally build the fire up and leave it here over that period of time for 2 hours before I move the fire to the outside edges of the actual dome, and that ensures that that centre bit where the pizza sits is at a really good temperature and the pizza will cook evenly all over. Okay, so once we have our fire building nicely, it's been sat in the centre of that pizza oven floor for about 2 hours. We've now got two options. We can either push it all to one side and use the other side of the pizza oven for cooking on, or we can push the fire into a horseshoe shape to create a more even heat source around the food. What I'm going to do with this one is push it into a horseshoe shape, and the centre, that base of the oven, will stay nice and hot, ready for the pizzas to go onto. So once the oven's up to temperature now, pizza goes in and goes in directly where the fire was sat before we pushed it back. So make sure obviously that the floor's swept thoroughly before the pizza actually goes in. What we'll be doing now is every 30 seconds or so just bringing the pizza out, rotating it to about 90 degrees and then placing it back in, and that way it will cook evenly all the way around. So there you go, a nice quick guide into how I set a fire to ensure that we get even cooking throughout the pizza, and also some tips regarding the generation of smoke if you're concerned about that, and how to have a completely smoke-free burn. Please subscribe to this channel, and as usual, if you've enjoyed this particular video, hit that like button. Thank you very much for watching.